That's Candace Woodruff, y'all, my rich friend.
Hey,
Um,
rich friend,
you and I
tell me.
have had off camera conversations like I do with all my friends, right? Can you tell us, not only for you, but on behalf of the sisters, what are or what is a deal breaker for you on a first date?
Oh my goodness. I would say, Robert, anything that is even close to intimate. And the reason I say that, and when I say close to intimate,
Excuse me, just for one moment, just so I understand clearly what you're saying. On your first date, brothers, if you're trying to get a home run, I'll let you fill in the rest.
don't. That's it.
Whew.
For the wrong reasons, right? I am more than my body. I am more than this nice figure that my nice ancestors gave me, right? I'm more than that, right? So I'm more than what you see. Try to get me in my mind, right? Talk to
Mm,
me. Let's see
mm.
what it is that we can do together. Let's see what we can do to grow together. Let's see where life can take us if that's where we're going, right? If I'm on a date with you, I ain't wasting time.
Mm.
We ain't here for that. So that's just me. If you trying to do anything intimate, I ain't saying like, oh, hold a hand or something. Oh, that's cool, whatever. But you know what I'm saying.
I do know exactly what you're saying. And with the authority that you said it with, brothers, you are on notice. But, it is what it is. Sometimes relationships can be derailed because one person is like over expressive about, their intentions to be intimate, right?
Right.
And that's really, really sweet how you put it. But some dudes just trying to smash. Then there's some ladies who want to smash on the first date too, because of the physical attraction that's there, and that's probably a recipe for disaster, but not always. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless,
Mm-hmm.
if we are in a relationship, right?
Okay.
Um, if you had to really think about this, because when I formulated this question, I'm really, really skeptical about who I ask, but I'm going to ask you because I trust your judgment in this
Sure.
particular arena. In relationships, is the goal to be married or is the goal to be happy? Let me ask that again because I want you to think about what I'm asking you. In a relationship, is the goal to get married or is the goal to be happy?
I know. I'm a I know several individuals who are married and not happy.
Mm,
So I'm gonna say that marriage seems like a check off the list, right? Okay, done that, right? It's a check box. But to literally be happy, I'm gonna say the goal is to be happy. Realizing I create happiness, right? I mean, that should be my answer. It is my answer. My answer is happiness because, Robert, it doesn't matter if I am married or single or whatever that looks like. Happiness should be my goal. And I want to be very clear that the other person in our lives can't make us happy. Huh, no, you have to do your job to do the things in your life to make you happy. And someone comes into your life to extend that happiness, to then collaborate with you in that happiness to pull it together. But alone, doing it, happiness is the key. Marriage is just the thing if you decide to do that. It's just one of those things that says, oh yeah, somebody put it on a piece of paper that said we was together. But in
yeah.
my world, I mean, I've been single for a little while. So if we decide to be in a partnership, because that's all marriage is, right? It's a partnership. It's a business.
It is. It
That's how I
is.
feel. But
Say that.
anyway,
Say
right?
that.
It's a business transaction. If we decide to do life together in partnership, to say, hey, we're going to go and do this, right? This is what we're doing. I really don't need nobody to put that on paper to tell us that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I don't. We can do all the formals ourselves. And I'm not telling people not to get married. I'm just saying don't rush into it, right? I wouldn't rush into it because that it's harder to get out than it is to get in. And I just want to make sure that I'm happy regardless of what's going on. So as my single self, baby, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna make sure I do the things that I desire to do that, and whoever comes along to extend that happiness would be wonderful. But I gotta be happy, and if I ain't doing that, we ain't gonna work. Right?
I feel
This is
like the
all
neck is
of
rolling a little bit, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all.
me.
I probably shouldn't have done this today, but what I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are watching or listening around the world, this is sound sage advice for real. And I love what you said. It's easy to get into, and it's hard to get out of. And shout out to all the successful married couples who are in the building around
Mhm.
the world. I do know a few. I do know there has been some turbulence in all of them, and
Yes,
which is the case with every single relationship, whether you're single or married.
that's right.
But you certainly want to think long and hard about this decision. And speaking of church, you mentioned that earlier.
Mhm.
My church, before you get married in our church, you have to go to this class. So you want to get married. And the killer dealer question that all of them have to wrestle with is if your spouse should have, an outside child outside of your marriage while you're married, can you still stay married to that person? And I know what the biblical answer is, and I know what the church answer is, but in my own Rob Anthony mind, that's like a never would I ever kind of situation that I don't know that I can really recover from or
Mhm.
wrestle with. So to your point, it's easy to get married, it's hard to get out of marriage, right?
Mhm.
So I'm gonna put a period on the end of that sentence because I don't want to step on nobody's toes. And I do want you to be blissfully married if that's what you decide to do this summer. If you send me an invite, I will be there. I will put $100 in an envelope. That will be my contribution. And I promise not to have too many drinks at the bar. But I digress. Um, so some people are married, right?
Mhm.
Some people are single.
Mhm.
But then there is the proverbial situationship. And in my definition and in my understanding of a situationship, it is typically when you're not necessarily claiming this person, but you're doing relationship kinds of things, right? Whether that be intimacy, whether that be travel, whether that be dating, whether that be connecting, right? On any level, but you don't quite have the title. And a lot of situationships happen in secret. There are some situationships that happen out in the open, but generally, there are rules to being in a situationship. And I don't know if you can share any unwritten rules of situationships because I'm gonna share some too, but I'm not gonna put you on the spot. But just for those folks who are out there, and here's the reason why I asked this question, because brothers are in situationships and they know they're in situationships, but sometimes they violate the rules.
Mhm.
Sisters, they're in situationships and they know they're in situationships, but sometimes they violate the rules. So, I mean, if that's the route you're going to be in, right? I mean, let's talk about that real quick. I don't want to get too deep in it because you are such a classy lady and I know you want it to be black or white, but we all got friends
Yeah.
that have been burned by being in a situationship, usually because they violated one of the unwritten rules.
Mhm. Robert, this is a tough
Talk
one.
about it now.
Right?
Come on now.
It's a tough one. This is what I'm gonna say though. Okay. I feel like we get in. I'm gonna give you my pre before I give you my answer. I do that
Okay.
often. I like to make sure to clarify. All right. I feel like we get in situationships, and I could speak for myself and conversations I've had, right? Because somebody, one of us, doesn't want to commit
Yeah.
for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
we want to do all the things and we want to feel all the things, but we don't want to commit to all the things, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the real thing that we should be working on mentally. Like, what is that? Where does that come from? And why are we going through that situation? Why are we doing ourselves that way? That's the first thing. I'm real healthy. I believe in why. Let's talk about that. Let's get to the root. But let's talk about the unwritten rules. Now you're in it.
You in there now.
Don't be looking through, checking over on his phone.
Sheesh.
Please, come on. We know when we together. Ooh, mm, when we together, we together. But
Right.
because it's a situationship, if he with somebody else in his time alone that's not with you can't be upset about that. Not really, because it ain't nothing that we doing openly. This ain't nothing. We ain't committed. So if we're not committed, it has to be okay for them to do whatever it is that they're doing. Period. I say unwritten rule. Don't look over and glance at the phone. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. A relationship rule in general. Like, don't be going through somebody's phone. Why are you going to look? If you insecure, come on. Let's work on that. What we doing? That's all I'm gonna say. That's an unwritten rule. I think that's a big one, and I'll say that. That's what I say. What you say? What you say, Rob? Talk to me. What's an
Well,
unwritten rule? Come
here's
on.
an unwritten. I'm glad that you prefaced it by saying that we both are in this because one or the other person is not willing to commit to make
Right.
this a public, official thing, right? With titles and all. But we want to experience the things. One of my big unwritten rules of being in a situationship, because I've been in a few myself. I'm not happy to say that, but I have.
It's life.
What the one unwritten rule is, from the moment you start that situationship, the clock is ticking. And what do I mean by that? The clock is ticking on a decision that has to be made, whether we're going to do the thing all the way or we're not, right? The clock is ticking on how much patience that he or she has on being the number two or the number 2A or the 1A. The time clock is ticking. And
It
for those of
is.
you brothers who start out a relationship, say, man, she real cool, man. She sit down, she drink with me and the fellas, and she real cool. She likes sports, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, man, we went out of town. And what I tell every brother who's in a situationship, it's good right now. She understand the rules. She know not to look through the phone. She know not to ask your whereabouts. When we together, we together. When we apart, we're apart. All that stuff is good until
It's
you
not.
have a series of collected experiences that not only happen in real time, but they are in her databanks, in his databanks, and they memorize that and they rehearse those things and they want what? More.
More.
So you got a time clock that's kicking. And sometimes that's 1 month, sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes that's a whole year. But eventually, one or the other person is going to ask, so when
So
are we
what?
going to make
So
this thing
what?
official? And that is something that, when people are in situationships, they get so surprised when the other person gets to this, come to Jesus moment, like, what we doing? It's a time clock that's ticking from the moment you make that first kiss, the moment you have that PDA, that public display of affection, the moment that you travel out of town, the moment you say love you.
No
Time
way.
clock is ticking.
No, Rob. See, that's another rule, bruh. No.
Oh, you don't use the L word in a situationship?
Oh, you can't be loving in situationships, because if you love me, we need to be together.
Listen, listen,
Okay,
listen,
you took it
listen.
too far. See,
I'm
that's
here
the
to tell
problem
you.
right there. That's the problem.
Well, you know what? You know what would cure that? A whole healthy conversation, communication of expectation, right?
That's
Um,
real.
I call that the rules of engagement conversation that every person should have, whether you're married, whether you're dating, whether you're in a situationship. You kind of need to go over, like, this is what I can do, and this is what
Hmm.
I can't do. And this is about as real as you can be, because two things happen. One, you put it out there so you can make your disclaimer right here, right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Number two, you give said partner an opportunity to say, I want to move forward with this thing, or nah, I
You
can't
get
do
the
that.
choice. The
Right.
choice is important.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you strip that person of the choice, all sorts of bad things happen, like your cars get keyed up, you know, you get that midnight knock at the door that you don't want. It's bad. It's all bad if you don't
Hmm.
have that rules of engagement speech, for
That's
sure.
good. That's good. I like the name of that. I think maybe, Rob, you might need to write a book.
Yeah,
Situation.
yeah. I think I should. Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah. I got
you
enough
got rules of
experience on
engagement.
not
That's a
having that
title.
conversation. So here's my last relationship question.
Okay.
When it's over, right? When you put a period on the end of that sentence, y'all had the conversation, like, this ain't gonna work, or it's not you, it's me, or it's not me, it's you. I can't
Mhm.
do this no more. When it's over, right? Males and females, is it cool to still just be friends? When it's over.
I'm gonna say if there was a conversation and not an argument, right? Like if the healthiness of the relationship can lead to that, then yeah, I think we can be friends. But is it like somebody the kind of friendship where I'm gonna talk to you every day? No. But I'm gonna say cordial friends. If we see each other out, of course we're gonna speak, how you doing, that kind of thing. If let's say we need something, let's say, because business is a thing, and we're in business, right? So if we're not doing what we used to do, but I need something or you need something, we should still be able to talk to each other about that if it was a healthy kind of ending. But it really, I'm gonna say it depends, because if you really hurt my heart, right, I don't know how quickly that could be, although ultimately I do think that we could be cordial. I don't know about friends.
Okay, okay, cool. So I take a little different take from that.
All right.
If you had my heart and we shared some experiences, especially if we were intimate, um, it's probably a general rule for me not to be friends, right?
Really?
Simply because, so I'm a Scorpio. So when I love really hard.
Me
And when
too.
yeah, when I'm intimate, I'm like, it's some magic just happening. So uh, I intentionally create images and memories and all those kinds of things. So it's kind of tough to separate, you know, cordial friendship from, we actually in it. And so when it's over, I would rather respectfully just to, let's take a hard pause. So if it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, we kind of flushed that part. We got our sage and we flushed out the chakras and the evil spirits. Because to your point, there may come a day when you holding hands with the next, and this person should be right in your purview. What are you going to do? Are you worried this fool is going to come over here and try to give me that hug he used to give me? Or this fool going to come over here and say something slick? Is this joker going to make this an uncomfortable situation? Because when I'm with you, right? You know everything you need to know. So it can't be one other chick that's going to come one up you and tell you about the time and remember when we used to da 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 da. Like, I don't want that kind of mojo happening when I'm with my next, right? So typically, it's a no for me. I can't be your friend no more. Like we did the thing, and if I revisit it to your point where we're cordial, I love how you said that. We need to have a hard break, for an extended amount of time, so we can say, I ain't just sleep with you last month, or I just slept with you 2 weeks ago. Let's stretch that thing out.
So you said if we cordial, we still need a break. It don't matter what it is, we need a hard break.
Yeah, because like so you're a very attractive lady, right? And you're very intelligent, and you bring a lot to the table beyond the fact, like you said, physically, how you look, right? So you stimulate a lot for a person.
Mhm.
Um, to try to be halfway in with somebody that's as strong as you are, your personality, your aura, your whole ambiance,
I can
like
get that.
if you still kind of connected to that, you might want to latch on to that,
Yeah.
and you might create an uncomfortable situation for me as a guy or for you as a female, and it's nothing more awkward than you not really getting the memo that it's over, and you
Yeah.
still think there's a chance, and you reaching out and you get your feelings hurt, right? So I don't like love pain is really, really hard for me. So I do everything in my power not to hurt somebody else. And I
Yeah.
sure as hell don't want you to hurt me. So
That's
let's
valid.
put a period on the end of this sentence. I'm gonna give you these two fingers for what it's worth. I see you what I see you, but I hope not. That's where I'm at with it.
You are an emotional Scorpio. I'm over.
I confess. I am. I am, but there's a benefit to that. It really, really is. Because when I'm in, right?
Yeah, that's
Full,
beautiful.
full, full blown. And but when I'm out, I'm out. So we keep the lines of communication real clear.